are here. All who are
Yeah.
planned are
We,
here.
we,
All of
we
them
already
were planned.
have two incredibly heavy issues in front of us. I'm not prepared. I don't have documentation. I haven't had a chance to read through packets. My motion is to continue this so that everybody and their brother can be aware that we're gonna have those people who've applied come and make a 4 to 5 minute presentation so that they can have their day in court, so to speak. And that would include anybody who was eliminated from your top 10 or so that you have on the chart that you presented us. So there might be another 10 who qualified but who were not selected. I don't know.
Oh,
Whatever the case might be, this is not the way it's been done the last 15 of the 17 years or so. I think we need to go back to where it's a longer night, but then cut out all the other presentations that we do. You know what I mean? Like, let us get down to business as opposed to spending an hour and a half shaking hands and kissing babies.
we needs a second. Can I? Yeah, I would like to second it with just yeah, for discussion. I would like to keep the list as is because since we already done to this, but moving forward next year, maybe we could perhaps open it like Councilman Galvin.
Yeah, that's what I would,
Yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
would support.
Fair
Yeah, I
enough.
would,
I'll
yeah,
accept
yeah.
that, yeah.
With these folks.
Yeah.
So I second that.
So we're just this is gonna be a motion just to continue this item, and that motion was seconded by Councilman Desiree. Did I get that correct?
No. He
No,
wants
no.
to consider this list, but moving forward,
Right.
then we would come with the new.
Yeah, with the whoever.
So
Modification.
we're gonna disregard we're just gonna continue it.
No, but he made a motion.
No, he
to-
made a
Motion
motion.
to continue this to the next council meeting to
Right.
allow the groups
To present, yeah.
to come back. to make
So we're just
That's what you
simply,
want?
the motion made by Councilman Galvin was a motion to continue this item to the next council meeting. That motion was seconded by Councilman Desiree. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone wishes, all in favor say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Item passes 4-0. This item has been continued. Tab G, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, authorizing the interim city manager to execute a program grant agreement in substantially the attached form between the city of North Miami and the school board of Miami-Dade County, Florida, to fund and implement the adult education tuition program for economically challenged city residents attending North Miami Senior High School during challenged city residents attending North Miami Senior High School during the 2015-2016 school year at a cost not to exceed $50,000, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That is tab G.
Through the mayor, this item has come up in the last council meeting. The mayor did ask for this item to be on the agenda. I'm going to have our finance director, Mr. Larry Spring, do a brief fact presentation on the item. I would like, if this item does pass this evening, I would like to make an amendment to the item, Mr. Mayor, if possible, to designate $5,000, 10% of the money to be used for administrative costs. That way we will be able to hire a part-time staff person to review when people do apply for the program.
Staff who doesn't do anything, that can, you have a bunch of part-time
To,
staff
to
who do
review applications that come in to address some of the problems that we have identified with the program identified through the state audit as well. So that's, the one thing I would be asking for as the manager. Mr. Spring.
Through the mayor, Larry Spring, finance director. Council, as this item came forth, the manager asked me to get some preliminary information because we knew the program was the subject of one of the audit areas the state auditors were looking at. And he asked that I also reach out to the Miami-Dade County Public School System to find out what their position was with regards to us refunding the program. I believe today you received my communication with my memo, but to kind of briefly go through it, and I do want to put one thing on the record. While I am documenting or releasing some of the information preliminarily from the state audit, they are not completed with their report. So some of these items could change or be modified as we go through the rest of the audit process. That being the case, The state auditors provided me with a preliminary memo of some of their findings with regards to the adult education program. Generally speaking, most of those findings were related to our general management or oversight of the program, specifically some inconsistencies in how we were verifying addresses. They indicated that we did not establish a review process or an assessment process for evaluating whether the city was indeed achieving its program intent. There were no criterias established to collect or to determine if students were actually economically challenged, as was outlined in the resolution. There was no evidence of the city receiving the monthly reports from Miami-Dade Public Schools with regards to the program, which would have included attendance, performance, and so on of the students that we were providing scholarships to. There was no evidence that the city had actually received the fee schedule to document the reimbursement for the scholarships. And then the final thing was that the invoices that we received were not detailed enough to support us determining whether there was compliance with the grant agreement. In speaking with the staff at the Miami-Dade County School Board directly, and I actually received an email from them, they have indicated that they are in full support of the city moving forward with refunding this program. They have outlined their understanding of the procedures that need to be followed with regards to compliance with the memorandum of understanding or the grant agreement. And they did indicate that while this has greatly impacted their enrollment, their student enrollment, the program continues to move, the program still exists, and that they did not, they indicated they did not have to terminate any instructors at the program here locally, but they were very much in support of us moving forward and supporting the scholarship. So the manager asked that I put that on the record for you tonight.
Thank you very much.
Again, Mr. Mayor, as Larry outlined, most of the problems are with our oversight of the program, and I would like 5,000 of the 50,000 to be dedicated towards the oversight of the program. If the council.
But how often will you be reporting to us?
Well, the reports are supposed to be sent in to us monthly. They do, when they enroll students, they send over their enrollment forms. We will have to do a verification of making sure that individuals do reside inside the city of North Miami. We would have to verify that none of the students have participated in the program, dropped out of the program, and are trying to re-enroll, again, using our money again for a second time. We would just do our due diligence in making sure the program is being administered the right way. So,
that due diligence, I would like it to be fully delineated on paper, step by step. What is it that administration is going to do, and present it to us for us to actually add or omit whatever it is to make it very viable.
I did meet with the adult education principal today, and I have a meeting scheduled with him for tomorrow at 4 o'clock to go over their policies and how they evaluate the students before they send them to us. So I will meet with them, and we won't begin dispersing the funds until we have come up with this plan on paper for how we're gonna evaluate the process and make the determination to ensure that this doesn't happen again.
Is there anyone in the audience representing the school now? I see no one. The reason why I keep insisting on this item is because of education. I believe that just because of the doing of one person, the whole people should not perish. And there is an old saying in French, it said, the soul who sins is he who dies, not the rest of the people. But we do have a lot of adults who do benefit from this program, and teachers. And my understanding is that the more students they have, the more teachers would be allocated to the school for the programs, thereby creating jobs. So that's the only reason why I'm really pushing for this. And if I believe if we do have a good system in place, we do get a watchdog to look at this program and report to us on a regular basis, we can get the people who need this funding the opportunity to learn computers and other parts of technology, and so that they could be better use in our society. And that's the reason why I'm pushing for this, and I really urge my colleagues to really support it. Go ahead.
May I, Mr. Mayor? Mr. Manager, how many employees do we have in this city? Full-time and part-time?
I believe full-time, we're probably about 400
Six.
full-time,
So
Or-
600 and something is
with
including.
part-time employees as well, yes, sir.
Okay, so I definitely don't support giving $5,000 from this, because if we have 600 and something people, including part-time, and we can't find one person to oversee some paperwork, then it's really a disgrace. That's number one. But here's what I did, Mr. Mayor, when I saw this item, because I didn't have a chance to, I wasn't feeling well last week to really go through this agenda as thorough as I should, but I did talk to Lisa Martinez from the school system. I wanted to know their point of view, because I know they were very upset at the last meeting that some folks came here and made some allegation regarding the school system. So she shared with me that from them and the superintendent that part of the statement was not true. Teachers were not being laid off because of funding, et cetera, et cetera. That was part of that. So they are in full support from what they said. They didn't have any in place, any mechanism to monitor this program. So I shared with Lisa, I said my concern as someone who used to work for the school system, and I understand where we are, if we could get not only a commitment from school operation, which they would have someone who would oversee this and make sure that it's being done properly, at least on their side, the monitoring. And next, I also did my homework and had a conversation with the principal, because I said to him, I can't see that they are making a request on your school and you have not reached out to us. So we had a lengthy conversation, and he's also in support of this item. With those two reasons, I'm very, moving forward in supporting this item, but not taking $5,000 away from it to hire somebody, because I think that's a shame. With 600 and something people here, for us to say we need another part-time person to monitor this. When it's 5 o'clock, everyone is gone.
Okay. Well,
Mr.
Okay,
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor? Yes.
Oh,
Go ahead.
finish.
no,
Yeah, I wasn't done yet, Mr. Mayor.
no, go ahead.
But that's Mr. Manager, if you would, I would definitely, if that would be off the table, I would not mind supporting this item. Thank you.
Okay, well, I just want to mention the fact that our finance director just made a short report that he reached out to the people from the school system, and that they are fully in favor of us going on with this scholarship program. That's one. And I'm not making this decision for the school principal. The school principal has already his degree. He's already a well-educated gentleman. I'm making this decision for the people, for the students who actually need it. So I cannot speak for the principal as to the reason why he's not here.
No, I spoke to him.
But he's not benefiting
Yeah.
from it. The students are. So,
Yes.
go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, and I have a question. First of all, I'm not in favor of putting aside $5,000 to pay staff to oversee the program. And secondly, there's an interlocal agreement between the school board and the city of North Miami. We are the one who's supposed to do the verification, right? That's when the city is responsible for that. And in order to move the project forward, I will see if we have a third-party verification to oversee the program and make sure and verify that the person are real residents of the city. That's I would support if we have a third-party verification, because the city been the one doing the verification and they didn't do a good job. That means in order to move the project forward, if we hire a
Okay.
third-party verification,
Yeah.
then
I will
be
accept
okay
that
with it.
amendment. I will accept the amendment.
May
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
comment? Number one, I'm in favor of the proposal, provided we stipulate when the manager enters into the agreement that we are in compliance with what our auditors set forth
Yeah.
to start being in compliance. There's a list of procedures for solicitation that was in our finance director's memo. I did not have time to compare it to the actual resolution, but I'm hoping that everything that needs to be incorporated is incorporated in this agreement. As far as verification,
Yeah.
it is nothing. We don't need to hire somebody. The person, the person comes in, they tell us what their address is, they show 2 forms of ID, they show a driver's license, a utility bill, or a lease, or anything else, and as I was explaining, you get on the public records, put the address in, you can tell right away from the folio if it's a North Miami address. Simple as that. Takes 2 minutes.
Yeah, but understand that if you have a third-party verification firm, let's
Why
see,
should we pay anybody?
let's see 40 people come from one address. How you gonna verify that those people?
We should have a system where it's only one
We,
person. per-
not employee, if you have companies,
Well, what's the
third-party
but what's the
verification. It's like a
verification?
mortgage, it's like
Yeah, but
when
what's a verification company gonna do? They're gonna say,
address,
"Oh,
or this
but-
person,
location, to have a
Well,
real phone number
know,
to
if you-
verify.
But if you have someone who's at the same address, and then that's up to the city to know that maybe we have too many people living at the same address.
Now you're gonna have someone to verify
I
the
looked-
driver's license.
I think financial status is also something that needs to be
Yes.
verified. if
Yes.
I'm not
Oh, I
mistaken.
see.
Oh, yes,
we
definitely.
gave away scholarships to people with the intention that it be to help people who are financially unable themselves. but
Exactly, we
never
gotta do that,
verified
verify the
their
income,
financial
Oh,
status.
yeah.
the job,
Income
at least call
verification
the
is very
job,
important.
and I think that will help.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor,
go ahead.
thank you. I want to touch on the procedures that were emailed to us today that the councilwoman just brought up, procedures for solicitation of funding. Where did those come from?
Are you thinking about this item?
Yeah. It's page 7 of the, there were 7 pages emailed to us today. The last one, North Miami Adult Education Center, City of North Miami funding, procedures for solicitation. And it goes on a list about 12 bullet points. It didn't attribute those to anybody or anything.
Mr. Mayor, through the mayor, may I
Go
address that? Those are not the procedures that we established. Those are the procedures, the understanding of the procedures that the school system had with regards to our program and their understanding of the grant agreement itself. Those are not our procedures. Those
Okay.
are what they said they should have been doing, or this is how the process works.
May I make one recommendation? I think it's the 3rd or 4th bullet point. An employee from North Miami Adult School will take student applications across the street to City Hall for verification of residency. Nobody should be walking pieces of paper from A to B, stick them in an email, and send them over.
Understood.
Vacant facts and truth.
When the problems on this program were originally brought to my attention, I looked at several registrar forms that came from Miami-Dade County Public Schools directly, and I went on the folio Dade County tax assessor sheet and found several non-existent addresses that just didn't exist. I'll wait till. Addresses that didn't exist. Why are we not waiting until the state completes its audit in regard to this? Yes, we have this preliminary memo, but why not wait until we have a final report from them, which I understand is coming in March, and then see what they recommend, see if anything criminally is being handed over to somebody else? I mean, why are we doing this now and not waiting till after the state finishes their audit?
Through the mayor, councilman, this was a request from the council to place the item on the agenda. From our findings, from the preliminary findings, we don't believe anything to be of criminal intent here. It was just mismanagement on the behalf of the city as it went forward with this program. We weren't verifying in the manner we should have been verifying.
So since we know that we weren't verifying, how do we know that those checks that went to went for students to addresses that didn't exist actually, have you verified whether that student actually completed a class at North Miami Adult Education? This is real simple.
Yes.
I mean, if I were to make up somebody, I would make them up and assign a fake address, and then the check would be cut. So if there's a potential that we know of that there might be ghost students, potentially, have we checked to see if, hey, North Miami High, John Doe was given money, and I know that we were writing checks to the school, I get that. But John Doe, at an address that doesn't exist, received $150 toward their tuition.
Well, it would
How do we
be-
know?
Immediately, that is also the monthly reports that are supposed to come. The monthly reports will actually have in the attendance rosters to say that students are continuing through the program. So that's,
But
Yeah.
for those
Yeah.
for those that we've already paid for, that's what I'm asking. I'm not.
Okay.
I get how we might fix this in the future, but for those students, I mean, it's in the memo. I gave them that information because it was given to me. There were addresses that did not exist where we wrote checks to cover student tuition. Can you tell me tonight that those students actually completed schoolwork at North Miami Adult School? And
But he already answered you. He said that it was a fault on behalf of on the side of the city employees who did not properly follow the procedures. To
I just wanted.
so he accepted the blame already.
Well, he's accepting the blame for Aleem,
yeah,
who's
back
accepting
in
the
the-
blame for Steve, who's accepting the
Yeah.
blame for Papa. Everybody's gone. I mean, we've gotten rid of all the people who were players here.
Can we start anew?
And we can start anew.
Mhm.
My concern is that we're just a little bit ahead of the game right here and doing this in January when we should be waiting till after the March final audit is done, and then we know what the state has found.
Can I,
Councilman Galvin.
We can always pull it out in March when the
No,
when the
the
results
government is conducting his investigation. That's moving forward. Now we're gonna put new guidelines in order for the money that's gonna be spent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Went to the right
And-
person. That's why I make a motion, a friendly amendment to hire a third-party verification for the next $50,000. But when it comes to the pass, the government is aware of
Yeah,
that and they're
they-
working on it.
Councilman Galvin, to my recollection, there was no money that anybody had. The check was from the city directly to the school system.
That was the point I
So
wanted
it
to
wasn't
Yes.
no, so the only thing that,
And who was the principal of the adult school
Well-
at that time?
it-
You
Yeah, but
get
it
where
was-
I'm
it
going.
was-
yes.
There's an allegation that
Yeah,
that
yes.
same principal, an allegation only, that he's been arrested, that same principal had ghost employees.
Okay.
So when the exact same adult school principal has what is questionable enrollment for me, that's why I'm questioning this so hard. That's why I
Okay.
took it to the state. I knew nothing about ghost employees. I was just seeing a situation where it might be ghost
Yeah, but
students.
that has nothing
But
to
the
do
thing,
with
Councilman Galvin, the school did not close. The next day, they hire another person. That's mean, it
I mean,
shouldn't be our concern.
We know where I'm voting tonight. I will not ask
Yeah.
any more questions.
okay,
Okay.
fine.
Well, Mr. Clerk, it's my resolution. Can I make a motion to
Absolutely.
move it? Okay.
can,
I make,
With
I-
the friendly amendment.
oh, yeah, with the friendly amendment
What's the
from
friendly
from
amendment?
The
Councilman.
friendly, it's to hire a
It's,
third-party verification
For what-
before,
what money?
before we give the money.
I have a question.
How you
please.
just gonna rely on on staff to
Hmm?
just receive the application
ready
and
from
a
the phone.
Florida ID to, and there's gonna say
Hmm?
yes to the person living in
What
the
is it?
city, in order to protect
I feel like I
the
go
city.
Yeah, but where we gonna get the money?
Public hearing.
It's
May I-
gotta
Okay.
be
For the-
comment.
Can we hear a little bit from the public?
Okay, but I have another question before we go ahead.
No, okay. Well, that's what I should have done to begin with.
Pardon me?
I should have opened public hearing to
You
begin
should
with.
have. But you didn't.
Exactly.
But it's okay, you don't
One,
have to.
one,
Go ahead.
one quick question.
Oh, my question is, we're talking about a verification company. Do we know such a company exists? I think a verification company is gonna wind up costing more than $5,000.
Yes.
And it's going to go beyond checking ID. We also have to check, if you wanna check, we haven't decided if, economic hardship is an issue, or should anybody who wants an education be able, it's our tax dollars, why shouldn't they be able to get it? I don't, where are you
That's-
gonna do the economic hardship?
That's why you need the
The-
third-party verification. Staff won't
But
be
you haven't
able to do
decided.
all that.
But the next thing is not only verification, you have to follow up with these people on an ongoing basis to make sure that they have graduated from these courses, that they don't drop out.
Don't you have some kind of
First of
guidelines
all-
in place
Yeah,
yet,
but
Mr.
what I'm
Manager?
saying is a verification
Guidelines.
company, it's not just the
Excuse me.
checkpoint there. You have a verification that they have continued, because this is not a one-time shot. From what I understand, they're taking technical
Staff gonna do
courses.
the rest.
Okay.
So we've gotta
Usually, a
make sure that,
third-party verification may charge
We
you,
wanna make sure
okay,
they didn't
I'm gonna
drop
charge
out
you
and do it again.
$20 per application to make
Okay.
sure the person is qualifying. I'm just giving you an example. Then after that, staff will do the rest.
Okay.
Make sure we have the report every month, make sure all those people continue to go to school.
I think you're gonna look at paying more
Yes.
than
Yes,
5,000.
I agree.
Ms. Laura Hill, you are recognized.
Thank you. 13075 Griffin Boulevard. My name is Laura Hill. Clearly, something went really wrong at this school. And there was procedures that weren't followed at some point. There were basically no checks and balances on it. I don't know what's different tonight. I don't know if new procedures have been put in place.
Will be.
I don't know why we would give this school $50,000 before new procedures were put in place. Why would we do that? Seems so counterintuitive to me to say, here's 50,000 more. You just pissed off like another, I don't know how much last year. Excuse my language. Why would we give them more money when they have not shown us, and the city staff has not shown us, that they are going to manage the next chunk of money properly? Why would we do this before the state's even done investigating it? It seems way too early to even be thinking about cutting another check. What if the staff comes to the council and says, here is a new set of regulations to make sure what happened last year doesn't happen again? And then this council evaluates whether to give them more money. That's just common sense. I don't understand why we would give them money before they show us that we're going to have a different set of standards to run this school. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open. No clapping, please, no clapping. Public hearing is still open.
Good evening, John Porter, 340 Northeast 131st Street. I think that my biggest issue with this is due diligence. You haven't gone through the process. Vice Mayor Key said, in compliance with the auditors, but you can't be in compliance with the auditors unless the auditors have finished their process. It would be one thing, as Laura said, if the city administration had come here and said, we have a new plan, these are the regulations, these are the processes, these are the procedures. You don't even know how you're going to vet the candidates, but yet you want to reinstate the program without ever putting anything in place. You're just saying like, well, just trust me. We'll figure it out after you approve it. Just give us the money, then we'll figure out how we're going to do it. It's not right. One other thing that I'd like to say, the city manager said nothing criminal has happened here. You're not qualified to say whether something is criminal, whether it's not criminal. That's for the state to decide. Thank you.
Please hold your clapping. A public hearing is still open. I see no one coming, so public hearing is closed. If there is any discussion, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor. In regards to the little discussion that's going on, I spoke to someone from the school system. Yes, they have a system in place. And I was very comfortable when I spoke to Miss Lisa Martinez, and I also spoke to the principal. No, nothing criminal as done as far as the money was not being spent improperly. No, the money came from the city to the school system, had nothing to do with the principal. So I don't know why we can't skip that matter. The money did not go to the school, it did not go to the principal. It was from our finance department to downtown. That was that. Now, anything what Councilman Galvin is saying, students may not have completed classes and all this and all that. Yes, that's a valid question. And that's why I've been begging this council, we need a contract, a compliance manager who's gonna come in, because this is not the only contract that we are in out of compliance as a city. So we need that individual who's gonna come in and review these contracts. We have that on Solimea. We have, a lot of different things that we should be getting as a city, some benefits, which we're not. So we need someone who's gonna verify these contracts, that every single, guidelines and, bullet points we put are being followed. So in reference to that, that's why I'm reconsidering voting for this item, because after talking to these individuals, there was nothing improper that was done as far as our money going. It went directly to the school system, and I have absolutely no problem with that. Now, the other issue, which is a whole different issue, is us doing what we gotta do.
I have another question.
Before you, Mr. Manager, how long will it take for administration to put together a set of guidelines for this?
I spoke
Because
with,
just because if we approve this tonight, that doesn't mean tomorrow they get a check. And my understanding is that we only issue a check based on a reimbursement basis, right?
this is correct, sir.
So even if this resolution is approved, no check is going to be issued until all the administrative steps have been taken properly. And at this point only, we will start the actual process.
Yes, and as I stated earlier, I did meet with the principal today, and I will be going over to North Miami Senior High with staff tomorrow to meet with the individuals that are running the program to make sure that we do put the procedures in place and we are in tune with the school, with North Miami Senior High, and how we administer the program.
And how soon can you present that to the council members?
I'm anticipating we should be able to present some steps in place by the next council meeting.
No, we would like to have it be prior to that.
Well, we could, I know that's the next time the whole body's gonna meet.
Yeah, but
But-
we need it before so we can review it and digest it and absorb it.
Yes, sir. I'll work my hardest to get it done for you by next week.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
And 50,000 going to be allocated to to the program, but that doesn't mean we're going to write them one check for $50,000. It's based on how much money per student.
Yes, it depends on how many students register. In the past, when we have budgeted $50,000, there's been some years we spent $46,000. There've been some years we spent the whole $50,000. There've been some years we spent $37,000.
Yeah, but how much per student?
The price varies per student. It depends. If somebody's doing a basic class, it might be $35 for a basic class. If somebody's taking a trade, it may be $400 for the trade class. So it just depends on what the student is registering for. Those are some things that we found out during our due diligence in the last couple days of how, it was different amounts. That which came up in the report as well is that some people we're paying $35 for some students, $400 for other students, and we had nothing recording why the price was different. So in our due diligence, we've determined that it's different things that students can register for. So,
But I remember 2 years or more when we passed the item, it was $400 maximum per student. And after that, we changed it to $1,000 maximum per student
That's
per
a lot-
year.
That's a lot of money.
Is it correct? And Natasha, I think in the agreement, it's $1,000 maximum per student. When we
We-
vote,
well, I
when
will
we change it from 50,000 to 100,000 in 2013, it come up from 400 to 1,000 per student. That's when it's not just one person can spend $5,000. The maximum cap, the cap per student is $1,000. But some students spend $35, $40. Some students went for one semester and they didn't come. But this is the way I think.
we will
program was set
continue,
from-
like I said, we will begin working on the guidelines immediately. We've already, established our deficiencies, what was going wrong. So we're working on the ways to fix the problem and how we're gonna monitor the problem as well. So
I think the resident wants you to come back in 2 weeks, present something, a plan, a guideline, how you're gonna move forward with the project
Yeah.
before you start spending the money.
Make a
Definitely.
motion to continue this till the next council.
Yeah.
No.
yeah.
I have a motion.
Oh, you do? Oh.
Yeah, we are discussing my motion.
We're gonna, Mr. Mayor,
Mm.
I make a friendly amendment and I can remove it if everybody's comfortable. and let staff handle the
I'm confident.
verification.
No, but he already said he's gonna get it within a week to us. So-
Okay,
so-
yeah, with staff without the
Yeah.
third-party
Moving-
verification.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But we're gonna vote on it, but in 2 weeks, you're gonna bring
The
all the
guidelines.
guideline and
Yeah.
everything before you cut the check.
Yes.
No, I think we should wait to vote on it till
Oh, my
we
God.
get our guidelines.
No, we can,
If I might say something,
It's the
Voting,
same thing.
voting on it doesn't mean that you
that you
are,
have to,
that
to
you
vote a check.
automatically committed to write a check.
we're
That's
gonna
what
vote
we-
again
No.
on something? or we
No,
just-
the guidelines are gonna come. We're just gonna vote on the
Well,
guidelines
okay, may I say something?
next time, yeah.
Next, in answer to Mr. Porter, we have received the deficiencies from our auditor. They've already told us what the deficiencies are. We have a list of them, so that's where I'm talking about. We're not waiting for something later. We may hear later that why they weren't taken care of. But we have a lot of things to discuss. Several years ago, when this adult education program was put in place, it was like, oh, just give them 50, just give them 100. There were no guidelines. They just let administration deal with it, and that's where we got into a mess. And I think, again, I'm very much in favor and for this, but I want to make sure it is done properly with the right guidelines.
That's
And
why I would-
So
So
we
why
can
can't we
even-
wait 2 weeks
We
to
can
make?
even add one more amendment,
before-
provided
Why
that,
can't we just vote on it in 2 weeks after staff has brought us the guidelines and and how we're gonna handle this, and whether it's gonna be economic hardship? Is it gonna be a one-time 400 shot? Can people just get $400 every
No.
semester and go
I would rather
forever?
vote on it tonight pending the guidelines. We'll vote on it, and then when the guidelines come, we agree on it. If the guidelines are not up to par, then it's not gonna go anywhere.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
Vote on it pending the guideline 2 weeks
yeah.
before you
Yeah.
start
So
spending
we're gonna
money.
vote, are we gonna
or-
vote again on the guidelines? Why don't we just do it in one time?
Yeah, we're gonna
We-
vote on the
we-
guidelines.
We need something brought before us to vote on.
So
We're
wait,
gonna
are
make
we-
the guideline. We're gonna ask staff to bring us something. If there's anything that need to be changed,
We
yeah,
change
we're
it.
gonna change it.
That's it.
Me, I will prefer a third-party verification. If we feel like staff can do that, can do the job, I'm okay with it. But I would prefer a third-party verification
Okay, Mr.
in
Clerk.
order
So
to
I
be
do-
safe.
I do have a motion by Mayor Joseph to approve tab G. Do I have a second?
No, with some amendment.
Well, he told me to remove
Yeah, he
that
removed
amendment.
the
to
amendment.
remove
You
that.
Yeah, so
But-
right now,
And waiting for staff,
Then
pending
waiting for
staff.
guidelines, okay.
Yeah, if we have to bring the third party or if we have to
Okay,
do it to staff,
so Mayor, is your motion to approve tab G
pending guidelines
pending the guidelines from staff?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a
Does that make
motion made by
sense, Mr.
Councilman, by Mayor Smith Joseph, and this motion is to approve tab G pending the guidelines. And do I have a second to that motion?
A second.
We have an
That motion was seconded by Councilman Bieneme.
We have an opinion from our attorney as to whether this is even proper.
As a point of order, if you do not approve the guidelines at the
Then-
next meeting, then this resolution is stayed. In other words, it will not go forward until
Yeah.
such time as you approve the guidelines. Okay,
It's-
thank you.
It's very
Yeah.
clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the motion was made by Mayor Smith Joseph to approve tab G pending the guidelines. That motion was seconded by Councilman Bieneme. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Item passes 4-1. Tab H, proposed ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, amending chapter 7 of the city of North Miami Code of Ordinances entitled Finance, specifically at Article 3 entitled Procurement Code by creating Division 10 entitled Prohibition Use of Expanded Polystyrene to prohibit the use of expanded polystyrene products by city contractors and special event permittees in city facilities and on city properties, providing for repeal, conflicts, severability, codification, and for an effective date.
Does staff have something to present?
Staff doesn't have a presentation on the item. This is an item that was brought forth by Councilman Bieneme. It basically would remove the use of styrofoam in city facilities and by use of vendors when they are conducting business at our city facilities. And maybe Councilman Bieneme might want to
And,
elaborate a little more on it.
and Mr. Galdos, this is how far we can go. We cannot bend that in the entire city.
This would be a really important first step. Recently, the city of New York, who's like in the forefront of this, their ordinance went a little bit too far, and the New York Supreme Court actually repealed it. So this is an important first step. It is a living document. This will be a great start. Later on, we can make it a little bit more restrictive as we see fit and as the law allows.
The way it is right now,
Yes, sir. This is
it's gonna apply to all city
all-
employees,
all
all
s-
city facilities,
including city
and
hall.
all vendors.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anybody doing business with the city cannot use styrofoam, huh?
Doing business with the city,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, sir.
Yeah, on city facilities.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Yes. Yes, sir.
Question.
Public hearing. Public hearing is now open on the item.
Do we go first?
Public hearing is now closed.
No.
If nobody comes, it's closed.
Everybody wants to be the dramatic last speaker.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the first speaker.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and staff. I applaud Councilman Bieneme for having the bravery to move forward on addressing the styrofoam issue. Styrofoam takes about 200,000 years to break down. I think about this often when I'm kayaking down the Biscayne River Canal and confront masses of styrofoam floating down towards Miami shores and into Biscayne Bay and into the gyres in the Atlantic Ocean. Everything's connected in the world, and as we move forward, we need to be more and more accountable personally. So starting with our own city, starting with our own selves, not using styrofoam is a really important thing. So I applaud this, and I hope that it does get some teeth in the future. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open.
Laura Hill, 13075 Griffin Boulevard. I'm gonna make it real quick. I don't know why anyone would oppose this. This is a step in the right direction, and we're not the first to do it. We shouldn't be the last to do it. I commend Councilman Bieneme for bringing this up. Like Attorney Rowland said, it's a first step in the right direction, and I urge each of you to vote for it. Thank you.
Public hearing is still open.
John Porter, 340 Northeast 131st Street. A lot of people, I think, are generally aware of the toxicity of creating styrofoam, the fossil fuels that are used to make it. What we don't get a lot of talking time about is what it does to our drainage system and flooding. So, as everyone knows, South Florida is a huge flooding risk. Pretty soon we're all going to be underwater. But styrofoam plays a huge role in that. It gets into our sewer systems, it clogs it, and unfortunately it doesn't biodegrade, so it's stuck there. So it's a very important step, not just from a topical health perspective, an environmental perspective, but from a very real flooding perspective. I can't imagine why anyone would oppose this, but I've been surprised here before. Have a good night.
Hi, this is Ileana from 849 Northeast 121st Street, and I think this is a great first effort towards rebranding the name of the city as a sustainable green North Miami. So thank you.
Thank you very much, and public hearing is now closed on the item. The Councilman Bieneme, I really salute you for coming up with this item, and I mean, this is a no-brainer.
Yes.
I don't see, it's like almost like an oxymoron. I don't know why anybody would come and vote against an item like this. And we are a city on the move, and we want to be on the global map. And COP21 took place only a couple of weeks ago in France, Paris, and we have a lot of different issues about global warming and sea level rise and so forth, and everybody needs to take charge. We only have one planet, and we have to take care of it. So we only have one city of North Miami. Now, my only question is to the attorney and also to the rest of the council. We have a small industrial area. What if a company would decide to come to one of our industrial area and manufacture styrofoam cups
If
in
it's city
place.
property, they will not be allowed to.
They would not be allowed.
That is correct.
No, not city property.
Well, this is
Private.
applicable to city property.
But this is, the mayor says something, this is something that can be added. That's mean we can ban
We-
any company coming into
Yeah.
to manufacture styrofoam, to ban that
Yeah.
in the city.
I would
The
like to
same
add-
way
I would
we
like to
did
add
with
that in the-
puppies.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be through the land development regulations, but this ordinance would prohibit the use, so this is an important first step in getting us there, and then we could look at the zoning and then possibly exclude the use to certain zoning districts.
And
Uh,
we
I-
have planning and zoning, Ms. Tanya Wilson, do you think it's legal if we ban that? Ban that?
That's something that we would
Oh,
have.
that's only,
we would
okay.
have to we
I'm
would
talking
have-
about from our land
Baby
use
steps.
development.
Baby
to see
steps.
if,
Baby
Ban
steps.
manufacturing
We,
and
we don't
using.
want the court to
too
come
far,
down
yeah.
like New York
Yeah.
and repeal this thing. Baby steps
Baby
first,
step.
and then we become a leader
Yes.
in anti-styrofoam use in
Yeah,
Miami-Dade
but
County.
there's something, Mr. Wollen. You remember what we did with puppies? We banned puppy store in the entire city. That's when nobody can come in the city and open a puppy store. That
Actually,
means why
we-
don't we do that with manufacturer coming in and wanna produce styrofoam?
Well, actually, regarding the pet stores, there was a distance requirement that was imposed, not a total prohibition. That's a little bit different. We had a distance requirement to lower the numbers from being concentrated in certain particular areas in the city. So it's a little bit different. We need to look at the LDRs separately, and it's a separate function. So, but once we have this in the books, in our code, it's easier to then expand.
Okay.
Maybe
that's
this
when-
is a little homework for you. along with
Absolutely.
the planning
Let's.
commission
I
to
want to
look
do it
into.
right. I don't want to do it wrong. If New York City's ordinance was repealed with their armies of attorneys, think about that. I really want to do this right. So
Okay.
thank
Okay,
you.
okay.
Can, Mr. Mayor, can you add me as a co-sponsor for this item? Okay,
At second reading, absolutely, yes, sir.
okay. Huh?
Motion,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Was that
Me too.
yeah, oh, that's how we
That's-
do it.
Well, you're
That's
gonna
a
vote
good
for
thing,
it.
and
You're gonna
and,
vote for it.
Okay.
And there's something coming next besides the styrofoam. Now we
Okay.
got to see how in the city of North Miami we can ban the use of pesticide. If we can have it more friendly.
That-
And now
That's a different
I got to tell
question.
you, starting January 1st, in my district, no pesticide. That's why we are using a more organic called MPD, and that's what's gonna be sprayed in the area. That's mean I hope that in the entire city we can use that product, a more friendly product that can protect the environment and also the help of the residents of the city.
Mr. Clerk?
I need a motion in a second.
I make the motion.
So I have a motion from Councilman Bieneme to approve tab H.
Second.
That motion was seconded by Mayor Smith Joseph. This is gonna be a roll call vote. Councilman Galvin, how do you vote?
Yes?
Councilwoman Keys, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Bieneme, how do you vote?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Desmay, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mayor
I was
Joseph?
Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Mayor, I'm sorry.
When did that happen?
Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Give me
Yes.
5 minutes.
Item passes 5-0. Tab I, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving a conditional use permit in substantially the attached form, transferring 5 floating residential units from the neighborhood redevelopment overlay, NRO, district's secondary residential pool of 989 floating residential units to a proposed 20-unit townhouse residential development to be named east of Fifth Townhomes on the 2 parcels located outside the NRO at 12121 Northeast 5th Avenue and 509 Northeast 121st Street with the following folio numbers 06-2230-031-0150 and 06-2230-031 4-0160 in accordance with Article 4, Division 2, Section 4-204, and Article 4, Division 4, Section 4-405 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes. That is tab I. And this tab I, Mayor and Council, is in fact a quasi-judicial item. So for that reason, if anyone would like to be heard, with the exception of the attorney, anyone want to be heard, or if anyone is going to give any form of testimony on this particular item, the clerk would have to swear you in at this time. All right, so for the record, only 4 individuals will be heard on this item. 5, 6, well, I mean you two in the back, former Mayor Burns, may you please stand up to be sworn?
Is he?
1, 2. So just for the record, Mayor and Council, we have a total of 6 individuals who will be heard on this item, and only 6, including, well, in addition, the attorney. Do you all solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Y'all may be seated.
Okay, staff.
Mr. Manager, at this time, we're gonna call Tanya C. Joy Wilson to introduce the item, and then I believe we have a presentation from,
How long is the presentation?
a brief presentation from the individuals bringing the item.
Tanya Wilson Sejour, the Community Planning and Development Department. I'll just read the staff recommendation into the record. The request is for the Mayor and Council to adopt the proposed resolution approving the requested conditional use permit to transfer 5 floating residential units from the Neighborhood Redevelopment Overlay District secondary residential pool of 989 floating residential units to propose multifamily residential development in the 2 parcels generally located at 12121 Northeast 5th Avenue and 509 Northeast 21st Street. Just to provide some background on this item, you'll recall back in 2007, the Mayor and Council had established a pool of bonus density units. Back then, the pool was established both for the central city, 4,000 units within the central city, and an additional 1,000 units to be set aside outside the central city. These 2 parcels, in fact, are located outside of the NRO overlay district area designated on the city's future land use map. The total acreage of both parcels is 0.92 acres. It's a little under an acre. In terms of the proposal for the site right now, as of right, allows for 15 units, and the applicant is requesting an additional 5 units to create a townhouse development on the site, a 20-unit townhouse development on the site. The project itself was reviewed by the city's planning commission, and it was recommended for approval unanimously. We actually have the applicant here that wants to do a formal presentation for the council at this time, and then we'll entertain any questions that the council may have.
As a point of order, Mayor and Council, one of the exhibits is incorrect. This is through no fault of the applicant. So we could move forward with, hearing this item with the knowledge that the exhibit number 1 will be amended accordingly. Apparently the wrong exhibit, the exhibit has some information that is not pertaining to this applicant. But if we proceed, which you can, it will be amended accordingly. Yes, the name on there as it appears is incorrect for some reason. That particular information was not accurate.
It's just one of the exhibits. All the other exhibits
Everything
are
else
accurate.
is exactly. Everything else
Completely within your discretion.
And again, it is without the applicants. This was, it had nothing to do with the applicant.
Thank you. I'm Frank Woland, and good evening, Mayor and Council. And I'm here on behalf of East of Fifth Townhouses. The principals are here as well. Mr. Pascal Korchner, Mr. Marcelo Brodowski, and our architect, Joseph Keller, is here as well to answer any questions that you may have. We've put a picture up on the screen, or we will. This is a very, very nice project. We're asking for a conditional use permit for 5 units from your pool of almost 1,000 units. It will help make this project work, and we believe that this project is something that our city really needs and which will really enhance our community, especially our downtown community. Staff supports the project. The Planning Commission supports it. It's very attractive, high-quality housing. It's beautiful, it's balanced, it's low-rise. We could go to 75 feet, parking underneath, apartments. That is not what these 3 gentlemen have chosen to do. They're all architects. They've built other projects on Miami Beach and elsewhere. They own multiple other properties in the city. And I can honestly say that what they've done and what they propose to do is really a beautiful project, which not only goes well with the community, but also brings people to live close to the downtown area, 5 or 6 blocks from here, which gives us the opportunity to have people actually walking downtown, revitalizing the downtown area in an area where you have not seen any new residential construction in the last 50 years. It's environmentally friendly. We have a playground. We have really nice townhouses, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. 3 of them are 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It complies with all the city green principles, or not all of them, but many of them. And I must tell you that I understand that you are anxious to move the agenda. We are sensitive. We have transportation oriented redevelopment standards that we meet. We meet sustainable standards, and we are happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval.
Well, no, question.
Oh,
No, the
I
public hasn't
apologize. I withdraw my motion.
The public hasn't been heard yet.
No, there's
Public
they-
hearing is still up. The public hearing
No,
is
they
now
can't.
open?
I don't think they could speak.
No?
Because it's a
The
quiet
6 people who
Oh,
were.
yeah. The 6 people who actually
Yeah.
sworn in.
It's a- That's it, nope.
I guess not. Yeah, go ahead. You,
Move approval.
No, wait, can I at least discussion? Yeah, okay,
you can approve for discussion.
okay. Apparently, okay, my question, in reference to the, can you please put up the, yes, how many units? It's 2,200 from my understanding. How many units would
There-
this, is this?
There are a total
Of-
of 20 units.
20,
Eight,
okay.
8 on one section,
Mhm.
and then 12 in the other section.
Okay,
If you want, you can bring
Okay.
up the, there you go.
okay.
On the bottom is Lot 1, that's the lot closest with the 8 units, and then
Is
you
this
can
the
see-
north side? No, the lot one is north side? That's on the north?
The,
That's the northern
right,
border, no?
north is to the top, correct.
Hmm?
North is to the top.
Northeast, okay.
Yeah, northeast
Sixth
to,
Avenue right here.
yeah,
that's
okay.
Memorial High, okay, West Dixie.
It's
My-
about 1 block off of 6th Avenue, and like
Okay.
I say, it's
Fifth, okay.
transit-oriented
Perfect.
and pedestrian-oriented.
Yes, sir. My next question is for staff. I know we're working on, Tanya, if you please. I know we're working on our job placement in condition to this. How would this, since we don't have this particular resolution ready, would this apply to this particular project? The job resolution that we are working on?
It actually would not. The draft of the resolution is really pertaining to city-funded projects.
Okay.
And items that have been procured based on city local funds. This is a private development, so it would
Got
not.
it. Okay, all right, thank you. We need to-
What's wrong with you?
So Mayor, I do
No, I'm
have a
trying
mo-
to-
Hmm?
No, I'm trying to create jobs. Anywhere I could create opportunity. And Mr. Rowland, I'm gonna ask you directly, because the question was, why am I asking that? My question is, are you going to hire local,
To- First of all,
Yes.
my clients are invested in this community. They have 4 other pieces of property. They're in the process, if everything goes well, in acquiring another property, which will be 35 other units, and they have no problem hiring locally
That's
to
my
the
question
extent
to
that
you.
they can. Absolutely, yes.
Thank you, sir.
They will, but they're not, it's private investment. It's
No,
if
no, no,
they
no.
want to.
Councilman.
It's different when it's government
No, no,
subsidized.
Councilman, I
We
understand.
understand that the ordinance does not apply,
But
and notwithstanding that, we will use our best efforts to make sure that we have local people
Yeah, but
competing for work.
we as a body cannot impose that upon
Yeah.
the.
Right,
upon
we
the
understand that.
council. Okay?
and I understand
And we're
that,
not
Mr.
asking you
Mayor.
to promise either.
Well, I was asking him a question, that's something that's important to me before
I'm telling
voting.
you, we will make an
Thank you,
effort to
sir.
hire locally.
Thank you.
Okay,
If
so
you say
Mayor, I
that-
have a
Can I make
If you
a
say that
comment?
on record and you don't do it,
No,
We're
he
gonna-
will.
no,
I
that's
kn- I know
private.
Mr.
But we need to
Mr. Holland,
understand
it's
that's
okay,
private.
it's okay.
That's private
It's okay.
investment. That's
We'll-
different than
Thank you.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes.
doing business with the city.
Thank you. I had watched this on the planning commission and saw the presentation, so I was not as intent on reading this resolution. So I apologize. I'm apologizing to you for the clerical mistakes in this resolution, which I really find unacceptable because it's going on too much. So I'm
Oh.
apologizing. I would not want to hold you up based
Uh,
on
I-
our staff's mistake.
I will tell you something, Councilwoman Keys. We have met with staff many times. Staff has been truly wonderful. They have gone out of their way to, this project has gone through a lot of changes. You don't see it
It's a
from the
good
plan, but they have gone out of their way to make it workable for the city. You know, you have some funky issues. It's a very irregularly shaped lot, and staff has been very helpful, and I understand that just, putting one piece of paper into another. As a lawyer, if I told you how many times I put the wrong exhibit or put the wrong number on
That's
it,
called malpractice, Mr. Wallen.
different
You know,
story,
and-
but
you're
we all
responsible.
do those
I
things.
get malpractice, and I get word processing, and I'm just pointing out that this really, I'm displeased about
Okay.
that, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
So Mayor, we do have a motion. The motion was made by Councilman Galvin and was seconded by Councilman Bieneme. At this point, I'm gonna commence with the roll call vote. Mayor Joseph, how do you vote?
Yes.
Councilman Galvin?
Yes?
Councilwoman Keys?
Yes,
Councilman Bieneme?
Yes.
And Councilman Desume.
Yes.
Item passes 5-0. Tab J, discussion on providing any and all options.
Thanks
Can
so
you give me
much.
How many bonus unit again? 8, right? 5. Okay, I just.
Tab J, discussion on providing any and all options to fill the position of the city attorney, authorizing the interim city manager to do all things necessary to effectuate the decision of the mayor and city council in filling the position. That is tab J.
Mayor, I know at the last special meeting we had, we did make a motion to reconsider the appointee that we had before. At this point, there's nothing on the table for the city attorney. I'm just seeking direction tonight to ask the question. I have prepared a job description to go out, and if it is the will of the body, I would like to put the job description out tomorrow for a period to be determined by this board. I would probably recommend maybe 2 weeks. Also, I want to know if you guys would like to open it up for additional firms to apply, if it is the will of the body to possibly have a firm, or if you want to stick with the firms that are already been in place, that already applied, and not open it back up. But if you do want to open it back up for firms, I have worked with the purchasing department. We'll be ready to move and place a new RFQ out by Monday. The job description can go out tomorrow for individuals to apply if it's the will of the board. I'm just seeking some direction for us to move forward right now.
I'll make that motion if it's okay to reopen the position to both firms and individuals.